My name is Patrick Barbenchon, and I'm working in the marketing department in France, in charge of heavy helicopters at the H225M, which was formerly known as the EC725. This aircraft has first flown in 2005, and we have delivered as of today more than 200 of the type, including civilian and military aircraft. In the military world, we have sold this aircraft to different countries. The first one was, of course, France, but we also sold this aircraft to Brazil, to Mexico, to Japan, to many countries, including Taiwan, and so on. This aircraft is a 11-ton class helicopter, which is a multi-role helicopter, meaning that with a single aircraft you will be able to fulfill a lot of missions. The versatility and the qualities of the helicopter makes it very easy to use for any armed forces. The aircraft is an 11-ton class helicopter, as I told, and is today one of the most brilliant helicopters in its class for multi-role missions, including military, including naval missions, including Coast Guard missions, including, let's say, special ops mission. A lot of missions are fulfilled with the type of the helicopter. Among the main features, the helicopter has two engines, which are Makila 2. These engines today are quite reliable and very powerful in all class of environments. We have conducted last December in India some trials for the Indian Coast Guard in a tender for 14 helicopters, and it went very well with full qualification of the aircraft in all the requests of the Indian Coast Guard Agency. Among the different features of the helicopter, you will find 5 blades on the main rotor. These 5 blades are here fully synthetic blades, and they are capable of lifting this 11-ton helicopter. The 5 blades are synthetic, and also the main rotor transmission is synthetic. You can see that there are very limited number of parts, moving parts, making it very reliable, and there is no greasing, so it's an unconditioned maintenance, and you have no maintenance to do on the rotor, almost. Among some other features of the helicopter, it's the different equipments you can find on the helicopter. For a naval or maritime environment, you will find hoist, which can be single or dual. This hoist has the capability of 600 pounds, and these 600 pounds allow to rescue people. The speed is more or less 2 meters per second, so it takes very limited amount of time to go for the complete search and rescue of rescuees. Another system is the searchlight. This one is a Spectrolab SX16, which is equipped with an infrared filter, which allows to use it even at night under night vision goggle, because the helicopter is fully capable to fly NVG. The crew equipped with goggles will conduct the mission in a really dark environment with absolutely no problem. Linked to the search systems is a FLIR, which is in the front of the nose of the helicopter, and this electro-optical turret here will allow the crew to conduct the search directly controlled from the cabin. In some specific configuration, we can imagine to have a console in the cabin, which will allow the operator to maneuver whatever the FLIR or the searchlight very easily. In terms of weather conditions, the aircraft is equipped with a weather radar, which is in the nose of the helicopter, and this weather radar has also a search function, which will allow to conduct search to find a ship above the sea. For safety reasons, we have implemented some emergency flotation devices, which will inflate automatically in the case of ditching. This is only for emergency, and these devices will inflate automatically in case of ditching or manually from the cockpit on the request of the captain. For tactical flight, the helicopter is equipped with cutters. You have one on the top and one on the bottom of the helicopter, and these cutters will allow to cut up to 15mm wires. In order, for tactical reason, you encounter a line, you will not destroy the helicopter, the cutter will cut the line. In the cabin, it's a full glass cockpit, full glass cockpit cabin with a really brilliant display. It's a very simple display, very easy to use. And the feedback we have from the Indian Coast Guard when we have conducted the trials in Daman in last December was that it was really readable, and they had never seen something so simple to use, even if it's quite complicated behind. The challenge was to have something difficult, something easy to use, but with a high technology behind, to make it simple for the crew and to have the crew comfortable with the system. The engines are protected by filters. They are multi-role filters. They can filter dust, but they can filter also ice. So the helicopter, when equipped with a full de-icing system, sorry, the helicopter, when equipped with a full de-icing system, will be capable of flying even in non-icing conditions. I know it's not really the problem in India. I'm not very familiar with the Indian weather, but the icing conditions in Europe or in northern countries allow the helicopter to fly even in the worst conditions, weather conditions. These filters are optional, so they can be installed or removed. Of course, it's the choice of the customer to have them or not. But when you have the filter, you protect significantly the engines from ingestion of any foreign objects. In the cockpit, among the features of the cockpit is the Autopilot. Airbus helicopters has a know-how about helicopters Autopilot. We are manufacturing them ourselves. Most of our competitors are using derived from fixed-wing autopilots, and these fixed-wing autopilots are always giving priority to speed, because for a fixed-wing speed is life, when for a helicopter altitude is life. That's the reason why we have made the choice to always give priority to the altitude, and we have several features in the Autopilot which will avoid the controlled flight into terrain, CFIT, by taking controls automatically and leveling off the helicopter when reaching the ground level. So it gives a lot of passive safety to the helicopter, making it probably one of the safest helicopters on the market. We have bubble windows on this helicopter, which will allow the crew to conduct the search by day or by night, and having this bubble window will allow the people on board to have the view vertically down to the helicopter, making it very, very easy to have a perfect view. The sensors are a plus, but in most of the cases the visual is the main asset, the main system. Let's say eyes are far better than any sensor. So having the view outside is something very important. On top of this, we have here a window which can be opened from inside, and from that window it will also ease the view outside. But in case of different missions, we are no more on search and rescue. In case of military missions, we have some weapons which can be installed on that window, and which will ensure the self-defense of the helicopter by the crew himself. This helicopter specifically is equipped with an auxiliary power unit, APU, which will allow the aircraft to be autonomous in terms of power, meaning that with the APU running, it's only 45 kilos of fuel per hour, and it will bring full hydraulical capability, full electrical capability, leaving the floor, giving the capability to have the air conditioning on board working, or the heater, depending on the weather conditions. And for search and rescue, it's very important because your cabin will remain at a good temperature for the rescuees. So this APU is very useful, especially for remote areas, because you will have, in some cases, to land anywhere in the field, and the helicopter will allow, and the APU will allow to have a very simple ground power, even in remote areas, keeping also all communication on board. On top of this, the APU is just at the rear here. It's this small part. The fuel of the helicopter is quite important. We have 2.2 tons of fuel inboard without additional fuel tank, and the fuel is in the belly of the helicopter and in that functions. Even if here you can see a filling point, this filling point is only for gravity refueling, but the helicopter is also equipped with a pressure refueling, and this is very important for Navy operations. The position of the single refueling point will allow directly the crew to plug from any ship in a hover in-flight refueling to hoist directly a hose which will come and refuel the helicopter in the hover. So for Navy operations, this is mandatory, and this is very, very important to have on an aircraft. That's the reason why we are proposing that aircraft to the Indian Navy for the tender. Having the fuel in the belly makes, having 2.2 tons of fuel, make the helicopter capable of more than 4.5 hours of flight, which makes a perfect asset for patrolling or even military actions in the depth of the battlefield. I didn't mention that the engines are managed by FADEX, and these FADEX allow the helicopter to be airborne very quickly. The FADEX will allow the helicopter to start the two engines more or less simultaneously, as the startup sequence is fully automatic. And here in Lima, Sunday there was a crash of Indonesian aircraft, mid-air collision of aircraft, and we have here a Malaysian aircraft which is on duty for search and rescue, and which was able to take off in 3 minutes after the scramble. So the aircraft is very, very efficient in terms of reactiveness, and making it the perfect asset for search and rescue. If we move forward, we will find a tail boom. On that tail boom, you have here provision for electronic warfare systems. The electronic warfare system is not installed on that helicopter, but it's already available and used in some countries. And this electronic warfare system will allow the helicopter to have signals from radars, signals from laser information, and everything is fusioned in the system, allowing the automatic delivery of chaff and flares through devices which are just installed on that part. On the rear part of the helicopter, we will find a tail rotor which is directly derived from the Tiger. The Tiger is an attack helicopter, and it's the technology of the Tiger which has been used on this helicopter to make a tail rotor very reliable and very efficient in terms of resistance to impacts. I don't mean that if you hurt the tail rotor on the ground, it will not, you will not conduct to a crash, but it's resistant to bullet impacts with no major damage, as the blades are also fully synthetic blades. We are owner of the technology. It's a synthetic composite blade. So this is more or less the global picture of the EC725. In India, we are today on two major programs. One for the Indian Coast Guard for 14 aircraft, and as I told you, we have conducted the full trials last year in 2014 with a trial in Daman in December, where we have flown several missions according to the request of the Indian Coast Guard, including some landings, deck landings on the vessel of the Indian Coast Guard. If I remember well, it was Samrat OPV which was used for these trials, and it went very well. The downwash of the helicopter was quite good, and with no major impact on the ship itself or people on the ship. So something very positive for these trials. Everything has been conducted in the Indian conditions and with full success. The second project is an Indian Navy project for more than 100 of helicopters. On that project, it's still ongoing. We have thought about delocalization of the production in India, and we are in talks with the Indian government, and in order to delocalize or to construct directly the helicopters in India.
Hello, good morning. I'm Major Ahmad Tarmizi bin Sokri. I'm from Thames, Scotland. I'm one of the EC725 operational pilot. I already flown about 250 hours for this aircraft. This is one of the sophisticated aircraft of on the inventory of our Royal Malaysian Air Force. Okay, my experience for this aircraft is a very very good helicopter in the RMAF Royal Malaysian Air Force. Okay, the beauty of this aircraft is very powerful and sophisticated on the avionics side. This aircraft up to 300 nautical miles from offshore we can use for the search and rescue mission day and night. Okay. And then for the combat troops, the beauty of this aircraft, all the special force can throw out from the aircraft from the starboard and the port side of the aircraft. This is a very powerful aircraft and very good on the search and rescue mission. That's all.